Good golly gosh, I love taking pictures on my Nintendo 3DS. This is just so much fun. But you know what's more fun? Not using this. Why spend money on a 3DS or even more hundreds of thousands of dollars on a new phone? We could get something so much better, more something with style, pizzazz, something, anything. I got something better. This is what I always wanted. Game Boy camera. Nintendo at least tries to innovate. Odd accessories seem to go hand in hand with Nintendo. The NES light gun or Rob the Robot, the SNES mouse, pretty much any peripheral for the Wii remotes or Switch Joy-Cons. I cannot decide whether to credit them for their creativity or fault them for filling the landfills with even more bullshit than we ever know what we could do with. You take this with Nintendo's approach to gaming. They never have been one to shy away from trying an idea that may be a little bit risky to them. I can at least appreciate it. In the modern landscape with countless scummy business decisions being made by many companies to nickel and dime you out of everything you own, and then Nintendo over here making game with motion controls in the year of our Lord 2024. Anyways, getting back on topic, the Game Boy was a wild release, with all of its editions having a sale total of over 118 million units sold worldwide since 1989. Nintendo making accessories to this is a no-brainer for that dough. But what is the real kicker is that the Game Boy camera is not a lazy accessory at all. It could have been bare bones, but hell, for a product in 1998 that was this quality, I'm actually inclined to say that this is a banger. Let's not waste too much more time. I want to go over this game, toy, camera, whatever you want to call it, that has a very wacky memory in the Nintendo history for many reasons. Well, I think we wasted enough time. Let's buckle on in and get ready. This is the Game Boy camera, released in 1998 for the, well, I'll give you one guess. Let's dive in. So, not much I can really find on the creation of this game. Hirokazu Tanaka led the project with the help of a Japanese company named Jupiter and Nintendo's research and development team 1. I could not find a whole lot of reception or sales number around the game. The best I got was that Japan sold this for around 500,000 units in about the first 3 weeks, which seems good to me, but I honestly really don't know much about this kind of stuff. I'm kind of dumb. Reviews were pretty vacant as well. It seems that many outlets didn't even bother with checking out the game during the release, due to many just believing it was a simple camera or an accessory rather than a game to review and score. Fair enough, I guess. Nowadays, it has more of a legacy for what it was and when it was. Not like the technology was super groundbreaking. I guess if you are an artist trying to do something quirky, you could mess with the camera and try to do some cool things with the contrast and all that junk. When looking into this, the Neil Young's album Silver and Gold, released in 2000, was an image taken off the Game Boy camera. Guess that's pretty cool. Other than that, the legacy lived on by a simple novelty and scarring many children. The latter we'll get to do so in just a little bit, so do not run away. Who are you running from anyways? So, obviously, if one were to use certain kind of products, such as redacted not to get killed by Nintendo, the camera function is really not a thing I can show off when using these things. And to prepare for this video, I did buy my own physical copy for the Game Boy camera, so I could show off and show some really cool pictures, but of course it doesn't fucking work! I'm annoyed. The camera part seems to be busted, the rest of the game works fine. I tried pretty much every Game Boy I could, no luck. Anyways, let's get into the gameplay. There is no story, obviously. No shit. Looking at it as a whole, I think it's pretty neat. As alluded to being a game, it's lots like a normal game cartridge would, barring the massive camera-esque tumor bulging out. Neatly enough, the camera has a function to rotate 180 degrees, taking pictures or selfies. For the late 90s, it's a pretty awesome feature. I think that is all I have to say on the physical part of it. That is anything I want to worth note. So let's hop into the actual game and turn it on. Good lord, that shit is awful. The Mario dancing like that is off-putting enough, but it sounds like somebody tried composing Game&Watch characters having rough sex. Great, I needed that image. Luckily, the music isn't constantly abysmal. The home menu has 3 options: shoot, play, and view. Starting with the one that makes the most sense, shoot, obviously, is a place you want to go for taking pictures. The menu here resembles that of an RPG battle, which I, for one, love. Shoot is taking pictures, obviously. Adjust brightness and contrast, take the picture you would want, and would be cool if it worked for me, but whatever. Check is a view option light. We'll go back to this later as there's a whole section for that, but it'll be mostly covered when I talk about the view in detail. items is more camera options, like setting a self-timer or a time-lapse. The magic selection adds more wacky features to the camera, like trick lenses, montages you can set up, panoramic shots, or the place where you can edit the face to play games with. More on that later too. Lastly, there is a run option. Well, it does absolutely nothing. View is the memory slot for pictures. They are stored here. You can check them all, view them in a slideshow, make animations, and this hotspot feature where you can link two pictures together. I wasn't really sure on this since my cameras weren't obviously working. Editing pictures is pretty unique. You can slap on borders as well as stickers like wacky facial features or other effects or decals. They also have the drawing on it and whatnot, which kind of sucks. Honestly, I think an etch and sketch is a little bit more responsive, like Christ. I'm sure if this was my primary entertainment as a kid, I'd mess with it more, but it's really nothing I really want to stick on for too long. It'd also be better if I had a face to use. Yes, I am still salty. I'm going to keep this up. Lastly, I'll move on to play. There are a few mini games here to play for your entertainment, because I'm sure someone said that taking pictures is dandy, but what if I could shoot myself? Space Fever is a pretty simple top-down space-like shooter based off the arcade game of the same name. It exists as pretty mindless distraction, but you can come face-to-face with a pic that you may have took in the magic mode for the game face. You can unlock other games from Space Fever, specifically Run Run Run, which is once again your game face stuck onto a stick figure running over hurdles by mashing the A button. Once again, nothing too crazy. DJ is another game, I guess, if you can call it that. You can attempt to make tunes with your head on the DJ, nothing really much to add here. Lastly is my favorite, because I'm obviously biased, the original Game&Watch title Ball. It's here in most of its glory with the game face as the Game&Watch head. You can play Classic Ball, a very simple Game&Watch title where you juggle balls, move your arms to catch, and re-throw the ball. If one drops, that's a game over. Get a high score. That's really all there is to it. It's super simple. I like Game&Watch anything, so this gets a Josh approval from me. And that's the game. It's definitely going to be a your mileage may vary type of game for sure. The minigames alone are not going to sway anyone, nor really should you, but it's a nice added feature, especially during the time. And that's the Game Boy camera. Honestly, a pretty niche title. It's also just... What was that? Okay, so on the shoot menu is the option run. A pretty common option in every RPG, but many are curious what to do, so they try it, maybe stop motion? Well, mainly it's a funny joke, I think. Obviously, there's no reason to run, so it shows us pictures stating the following. You are now crossing the equator. Jumbo Nintendo. Cool, I guess. Awesome. Of course, if you keep hitting the run button, you get the infamous scary faces. Who are you running from? These selection of faces, more in the Japanese version, are the nightmare fuel for any innocent kid who played this and showed up in every creepiest Nintendo games ever top 10 list in the 2010s. Obviously, they are some sort of in-joke or just the developers having fun with the software. They also can show up if you do not have any pictures, and try to view the slideshow without any pictures taken. Paired with a creepy-ass droning song that plays, this shit is unsettling. I think Nintendo should keep these faces and continue referencing for the foreseeable future, because Nintendo just doesn't seem to add this type of stuff anymore. I'm sure it could cause a stupid uproar nowadays, but welcome to the internet. In reality, the faces are the things that keep this title in the Nintendo gaming zeitgeist since the dawn of the YouTube sphere especially. It's interesting to see many people say they experienced this as a kid as opposed to some video. That definitely would have been truly terrifying. Obviously now, when we have more context, we know it's just simple trolling on the developer's part, but I still like to talk about it, as I'm sure most people already know the Game Boy camera for these faces. Now that's really it for the Game Boy camera software. I can't say I'd recommend this unless you want to be some sort of suave art student, but I don't know, you could challenge yourself to take pictures with it, I guess, but it's cool if the camera actually works for you. But yeah, purchase at your own volition, I guess. Good luck and don't run.